Yeah, your resume was so spectacular. Temple Vanilla. It's a great place.
Yes.
Yes, drink plenty in there.
Why is there a camera right above the arm?
Camera where? What? Where?
Right there.
Oh, the cameras are back there. It's just doing that as a placeholder until we start.
Oh, man.
Your hair looks really nice.
Thank you. My aunt just gave me a drink first.
Huh?
My aunt just gave me a drink and it had so much coffee in it. So I was like,
How are you?
wow, they didn't even see me.
I know. My kids, I was there, but yeah, it's going to be great.
Gary got all the pictures from this morning.
Why not?
Love it. You guys are crazy. So this is, yeah, I think this is, probably do 7, but I do think 6 is when you tie it first. Yeah, maybe recently, this is how it was. Yeah. Alright, so let's see. So Claire, so she's got her binder, everything she wants, so I'm going to encourage her to always have her binder with her.
Yes.
And did she get a chance to use the restroom?
No.
No, okay.
Where?
Very detailed.
Good. What did you do with your glass, your collapsible glasses?
This is meaning it's still in denial buttons, so.
Welcome. Those are nice. Whole new world. I remember when I first got glasses and I was like, I'm driving. Look at that tree. Look at the edges of that tree. I've never seen.
I'm the only person in my whole
I hope Anna comes before it's fast enough. She can actually try to find words.
Scientifically,
Doing good.
though, someone in
There.
This is what happened when I complained.
So we're going to start in a little bit. I like the flowers in your hair. Do you use the restroom?
I should.
Okay. Kim, is that okay?
What?
So we'll take a moment for Claire to use the restroom.
I think
Yeah? Okay,
I'm going to shepherd her because that is not
great. Good idea.
Yeah, if you guys have Talit, that would you could acquire someone back. So I talked to Andrew. feel like that's just really
Tilted?
No.
Oh, I see. They're tilted this way. This way.
Yeah, that's
Is that okay?
it might be also a little bit.
For Saturday morning. That's for you. So if you want to hang on to that. Yeah, just flowers, lunch.
Yeah, those are
Good? All right. They are gorgeous. And I started though with them. My chair has purple in it, so
Well, that reminds me.
you know, carnations and roses. Orchids are the ones that are coming out. The usually the ones that are
Like the about
Can you better back over here?
Good.
She keeps falling off those shoes. She said that was
Okay, I'm gonna encourage Claire.
What are we asking?
Claire, I'm gonna encourage you to
So, yes, the whole congregation responds, but I'll be leading that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then I'll do the next
So
one.
yeah, so just read the English. You don't need to worry about it.
There were still a lot of people around here. Good morning, Julia. We have the money in the pocket. They said not everything back to suits.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to get started with Hine Matov. How good, how pleasant it is for us all to be here together. You can follow along in your Siddur on page 188. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim 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 shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, yadadai, dadadadadadai. Hine matov, yadadai, dadadadadadai. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, yadadai, dadadadadadai. Hine matov, yadadai, dadadadadadai. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Temple Sinai of Glendale. I'm Rabbi Rick Schechter. That's Cantor Alyssa Rosenbaum. So wonderful for all of us to be together today. It's so great to be together as family, to be together as friends, to be together as a community, to celebrate Shabbat, the Jewish day of rest and renewal. A day when we can just slow down to thank God for all the goodness, all the blessings in our lives. And this Shabbat is so very special because on this Shabbat we celebrate Claire Williams becoming a bat mitzvah. Yes. All right. Oh, you guys got it. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second, what we're all doing here. For those of you who are like, what are they doing? We'll explain in just a moment. But I want to begin by saying Claire, literally, bat mitzvah, literally a daughter of the commandment, a daughter of the commandment. So today, Claire is recognized in our eyes and in the eyes of the entire Jewish world as having come of age in our tradition, and she is ready and willing and able to keep the teachings and the practices of Judaism. So today, Claire demonstrates her new status as a bat mitzvah, a daughter of the commandment, by leading us in prayer and in worship. And Claire would like you to join with her at various times. So when Claire invites you to join in English, please join in the English. If you know the Hebrew, please join us in the Hebrew. Please sing along. If you don't know the songs, feel free to hum along or clap along, and we'll all celebrate together. Now, Claire's also going to demonstrate her status as a bat mitzvah by chanting from the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, and Claire will share very thoughtful, very wise teachings of hers based upon her Torah portion. So we want to wish a heartful Mazel Tov to Claire and to Kim and to David and to Steve and to Allison and Meg and the entire family. My goodness, we have family and friends from all over with us today. We've got family and friends from throughout the Los Angeles area and from Davis, California, from Portland, Oregon, from Seattle, Washington, from Houston, Texas, from Charlotte, North Carolina. Kim's parents are from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we've got family here from Mahwah, New Jersey. Where's Mahwah? I'm just curious. There, okay, right, Mahwah. And with us on live stream today, we have family and friends from Paso Robles, California, in Bellingham, Washington, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We have family and friends with us today, even as far as Studio City, California. So thank you all for being here today. Hopefully everybody has a copy of the prayer book we'll be using. This is it. It's a Hebrew opening book, so it opens and reads from right to left instead of left to right. We'd like to invite everybody in the sanctuary to please silence your cell phones or your electronic devices, if you could do that now. No texting during the service. Claire, you're doing great. We do have another way to show our love and appreciation to Claire throughout the service. It is a modified form of applause. We were doing it earlier. Instead of going like this, Claire has asked us to go like this. This is America. Oh, look at that, Claire. This is American Sign Language for applause and kudos, and we'll have plenty of opportunities to do that throughout the service. Just a reminder, there's no photography during the service. They have a photographer who's taking wonderful pictures for everybody. So let's begin. We turn to page 185 in our prayer book, page 185. Well, in loving community of family and friends, this morning we celebrate Claire. And we enter this sacred space to voice the longings of our hearts in prayer. We devote ourselves this morning to psalm and to song, to study and to prayer. May our hearts be lifted, may our thoughts be deepened, and may our souls, like the eagle, soar. Well, in that spirit, at this time, we are so very honored to call upon Elise and Larry Selfon, Claire's grandparents, to present Claire with her talit, her Jewish prayer shawl. Please,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav Vitivanu lahita te vatzitzi.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Larry.
Okay. I'll give you a kiss. Hey.
Kissy, kissy.
Thank you. Mazel tov. Mazel tov, Elise, Larry. Beautiful talit. By the way, that's not easy to do. Say the blessing while you're sort of adjusting your hair and getting that all set. That is not easy to do. You were doing two things at once. I'm very impressed with how you did that. Well, let us now turn to page 192. Page 192, it's traditional upon entering a Jewish sanctuary in the morning to recite these words. They come from the Torah, the book of Numbers, Ma Tovu, how lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. This is our spiritual dwelling place. We invite you to please join us in the singing of Ma Tovu, if you know it.
Okay.
Yisrael, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenatecha Yisrael, va'ani berov chastecha avo
Turn to page 198. Page 198, as we are honored to have Claire, our bat mitzvah, lead us in prayers, thanking God for the miracles of daily life. Claire's going to chant the Hebrew. We're going to respond in the English, beginning on the top of page 198.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sechvivina levchachin ben yom uven laila.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who frees the captive.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sokev kefufim.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who lifts up the fallen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who strengthens our steps.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen. praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who clothes the naked.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten la'ya'ef koach.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who gives strength to the weary.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamaver she'inai me'anai utnumach me'afapai.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shi'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who made me in the image of God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shi'asani bachorim.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me free.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shi'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me a Jew.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, otzer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who girds Israel with strength.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who crowns Israel with splendor.
We continue with the Recite Kaddish on page 224.
Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba, be'almad yifrach yirotei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyom v'echon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv ve'imeru, amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach, le'alam olam me'amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yithadar v'yit'alev v'yithalal, shemei d'kudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'yimeru, amen.
We now turn to page 226. Please rise for a call to worship. Turn to page 228 for the Yotzer or prayer, thanking God for the wonders of creation. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvorei choshech,
Oseh shalom uvorei et
hakol. Praised are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illuminate the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai! In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands, and for the light you created, may them glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamarot. We turn to page 231. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light blinded we saw that inner and outer worlds are one as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us. As we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahavah.
Please join me in the Shema, beginning on page 232.
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. Please join me on chanting the Ve'ahavta on page 234. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odecha v'chayu hadivarim ha'elech asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvletecha v'aderech u'shochrecha u'kumecha u'shartam leot al yadecha v'chayu letotefot b'neinecha u'chavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'bisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
We continue on page 239. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness there is your word. Emet, the pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame. Stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice. Please turn to page 240. Now we come to the heart of Jewish worship, the Amidah on pages 242 through 248. Please rise. Adonai sefatati tahu fi yadi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imateinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Hasei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevi geula livnei b'neihem, Le'va'an shemo ve'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshia u'magi. Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham be'ezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rav le'Moshiach, mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, somek noflim berofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato mishenei achad, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melech, melech le'mit umechayem, umasmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah le'achayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Mekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה על זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו אחד הוא אלוהינו הוא אבינו הוא מלכנו הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי אני אדוני אלוהיכם ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. We continue with the singing of Vishamru on page 250.
Shabbat, לעשות את השבת
Please turn to page 253. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope. For Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living. For Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness. For Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. I'm honored to now call upon my aunts, Andy, Lauren, and Julia, to lead us in prayers beginning on page 255. You're doing this one.
Okay.
Let me get the microphone.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy. And may we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah. Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness, restrain our thirst for excess, and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer in life, in peace, and in joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod.
We now pray responsively on page 257. This prayer has a Hebrew response, Modim anachnu lach, which means, we thank you, God.
For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared,
Modim anachnu lach.
for all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom,
Modim anachnu lach.
for human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose,
Modim anachnu lach.
for human, right here. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'el lehodot.
Thank you.
God. Okay. We now take a moment for personal and silent prayer.
rotzonim reifi. Yihu rotzonim reifi. Ve'yon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri v'goali. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you. Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom bimromav. Oh, yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'alko Yisrael. Ve'imeru, ve'imeru.
We now come to our Torah service, Seder Kriyat HaTorah LeShabbat. You can find the prayers and blessings for the Torah service beginning on page 362. Page 362.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein gemasecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiv avirtzoncha et Zion. Tivne chomat Yerushalayim. Tivne chomat Yerushalayim. Ki v'cha nevad batachnu. Melech Eram v'nisa Adon Olamim.
To now open the Aron HaKodesh, the Holy Ark, we are delighted to call upon Heidi Muckamal and Sharon Sim, family friends, to pass the Torah through the generations. We are honored to call upon Larry and Elise Selfon and Marlene Abrams, Claire's grandparents, Steve Abrams, Claire's stepdad, David Williams, Claire's father, Kim Selfon, Claire's mother, and of course Claire Williams, our bat mitzvah. And after our processional with the Torah, we are honored to help us undress the Torah scroll, Ryan and Ellie Ross, Claire's cousins. We now invite the entire congregation to please rise before the open ark. Well, Claire, you are leading us so beautifully in prayer and in worship this morning. You've been leading us in prayer, some of which are thousands of years old, and you are now getting ready to do something the Jewish people have also been doing for millennia, for thousands of years. Reading, chanting from the Torah, from the 5 books of Moses, the embodiment of Jewish wisdom and Jewish history and Jewish values and Jewish teaching. The 5 books of Moses are the books of Genesis and Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. We're not going to ask Claire to read all those books today. As you know, you've got one right in the middle, which is one of the best. Claire, in becoming a bat mitzvah, a daughter of the commandment, you are now taking your place among the Jewish people as part of what we call the Shashelet HaKabbalah. The Shashelet HaKabbalah, the chain of Jewish tradition. This loving chain of Jewish tradition extends thousands of years in our past. It will extend thousands of years into our future, thanks to you as the newest and the strongest link in the chain of Jewish tradition. So Claire, this Torah comes to you lador vador, from generation to generation, with the love and the support of your family. Thank you, Cantor. It comes, Claire, with the love and support of your grandma. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Congratulations. The love and support of your grandfather. Mazel tov. The love and guidance of your grandma. Mazel tov. The love and support of your stepdad. The love and guidance of your father. And the love and the support and guidance of your mom. It's heavy. So now finally rest in your arms, Claire. Okay.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udevar Adonai b'Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai Hiti, Uneromema Shemo Yachtav. Lecha Adonai HaGedula, VeHaGevura, VeHaTiferet, VeHaNetzach, VeHavod. Kicho b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Kicho b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Cha Adonai HaMamla'acha, VeHamid Na'aseh lechol rosh. Romemu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu, Ve'ishtachavu, Lehar Kodsho, Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Al shlosha devarim, Al shlosha devarim, Al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al shlosha devarim, Al shlosha devarim, Al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed.
And please be seated, everybody. Okay. Okay, so maybe let's find it first. That's true. That's true. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look. It's the ending one, so I don't know that it matters. Let's go back. I don't know. Okay, so I would more about it. Yeah. I'm not sure. Not sure. Okay, this is where you start. That looks familiar. Yeah, that's it.
It's in the same column.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, take your time. Let's find that Torah Introduction. Oh, I think I see it right here. Is that? I think so. That's what's there. There's, yeah, there we go. So let's slide this in here. You're doing great. So come stand in front of the mic. Yeah, nice and slow.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, okay.
If you'll stand a little bit more in front of the mic.
This week's Torah portion comes from the book of Leviticus. In it, God instructs the Israelite people how to be holy and guides them to follow a series of ethnical and ritual laws. You can find the Torah portion in the blue commentary on page 798 and in the women's Torah commentary on page 703, beginning at verse 1.
So that is in the blue book in front of you, the big blue book, page 798. And then in the green book, the Women's Torah Commentary on page 703, beginning at verse 1, as Claire said. That's over here. 798 in blue, 703 in green. And as you are finding that, we just wanted to mention that in Judaism, it is an honor to be called to the Torah, to chant as Claire is about to do. It's also an honor in Judaism to be called up to the Torah to say blessings before and after each chanting. Blessings thanking God for the gift, the wisdom of Torah. That honor is called an aliyah. Aliyah literally means going up. We have 3 aliyot this morning. For our first aliyah, we are honored to call upon Dory and Scott Whitman and Lori and Mark Selfon, Claire's aunts and uncles.
יעמדו דבורה בת לבקה וחיה, עמנואל בן ראובן ושנדל, לאה בת משה ורבקה, משה בן לבקה וחיה ראשון.
You got it there too. We got it right here, nice and big. Just looking at repeats right there. So we'll
We don't get music?
There you go.
Yeah.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamrach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
V'daber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el kol adad b'nei Israel, ve'amarta aleichem kidoshim tiyu, ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. Ish ema ve'aviv tirachu, ve'et shabtotai tishmoru, ani Adonai Elohechem. El tifnu elcha elelim, ve'lochei masecha lo tasu lachem, ani Adonai Elohechem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Thank you all so much. For our second Aliyah this morning, we are so very honored to call upon Kim Selfon, Claire's mom, Steve Abrams, Claire's stepdad, and Allison and Meg Abrams, Claire's stepsisters.
יעמדו קהילה בת לבקה וחיה, שמואל בן זלמן ומיקול, יוחנה בת שמואל ועזרא, מלכה בת שמואל ועזרא, שני.
Baruch Adonai HaMavarach.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMavarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Vechi tizbechu zevach shlamim, Adonai yirtzonchem tizbechu. Beyom zechachem yachel omimachorat, והנותר עד יום השלישי באש ישרף. ואם היחל יחל ביום השלישי, פגול הוא לא ירצה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Ve'yom
Yeah, we want to have the honor to make this official. So, for our third and final aliyah this morning, to officially call to the Torah as bat mitzvah, we are honored to call upon Claire Williams.
תעמוד, 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 הבחורה בת מצווה, חיה שרה בת דוד בכלא, עלייה השלישית.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ve'ochlav avono yisa chiyat kodesh Adonai Hillel v'nichrata hanefesh hahi me'amecha v'chatorcham et kitzir artchem lo techale pe'at sadcha liktzor ve'leket kitzarcha lo talaket ve'charcha lo techalel uferet karmcha lo talaket le'ani ve'lager tazov Otam ani Adonai Elohechem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yes, definitely one of those moments. Mazel tov, Yasher kochech. That was wonderful, Claire. Well, this is such an important moment at a bat mitzvah ceremony. We like to call this a siman tov and mazel tov moment. It is a good sign and good fortune that we are all together celebrating this milestone, this very happy occasion in Claire's life and the life of her family, friends, community. So we'd like to invite the family to come on over and stand with Claire at the Torah, and we're all going to sing siman tov and mazel tov.
Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, keilanu. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov.
Well, with the Torah before us, it's a Jewish tradition to say special prayers. In this case, prayers of healing for people we know who are sick or injured, people who are in need of a healing of body and a healing of spirit. We invite you to please join us in this Mishabarak prayer of healing. It's on the laminated sheet before you. It's also in the middle of page 371. Page 371.
Mishabarak avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
At this time, we invite you to offer the names of people you know who are in need of healing. We'll go around the sanctuary. Please just raise your hand and call out their name. Yes, please. Yes, please. Please, yeah. Tina. Yes, please. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes. Carolyn. George. Yes. Yes, please. Seth. Well, we think of all of them, and we also include in our prayer of healing all the folks listed on the inside of our Shabbat leaflet, the Mishabarak page. We pray in our hearts for all of these temple members who are in need of healing, all these family members in need of healing, and all of these friends and coworkers who are in need of healing, as we now continue our prayer of healing together.
Mishabarak imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
We pray they're all healed. Well, Claire chanted the Torah so beautifully, and we're getting ready to return the Torah to the Ark. Before we do so, Claire would like to show everybody something she made especially for this day. So Claire, yeah, why don't we... Come down and show everybody so you can see it better. So this is called a wimple. A wimple is a Yiddish word based on a German word for cloth, and this is what we use to wrap the Torah. This is the Torah Binder. And we ask each bat mitzvah student or bar mitzvah student to design their very own wimple. It always includes their Hebrew name, their Jewish name right in the middle. And then we asked them to also put on the wimple to draw pictures of things from Judaism or things from their personal lives that they very much connect with and are important to them. As you can see, Claire came up with a number of things that she wanted to include on her wimple. She has a very full life, and it is represented here on the wimple. So Claire, why don't we explain to everybody what we're looking at? Let's go from right to left. So let's see. So why don't we start right here? What are we looking at there?
Well, my dad drew that. I forgot what it is. What was it again?
Oh, it's a heart?
No, I know what it is, but what does it represent?
Your infinite compassion.
Okay, my infinite compassion.
Very nice. So Claire's infinite compassion, surrounded by stars and surrounded by vegetation and blossoming plants. Very nice. So then, right there in the middle again is Claire's Jewish name, and it's a nice long one. It extends most of the wimple. Underneath your name here towards me, what are we looking at there? Kenley recognizes it. I learned a little bit about it as we were practicing. So this is this is anime, right? These are some of your favorite characters, and I love the name of this anime program. I wonder who else knows this one. You want to say? Do you want me to say it?
Oh, it's from Demon Slayer.
Sure. What wimple would not be complete without a Demon Slayer? So these are the two heroes from Demon Slayer. After Claire told me about it, I went on YouTube and I'm like, what's Demon Slayer? And they explained it like in 10 minutes. And they must have gone through like 100 characters. And I was like, I am totally lost. But there it is. So these are two of the main characters, the heroes of Demon Slayer. Very nice. And we can assume they slay demons. Yes?
Yes.
All right. I'll send you the YouTube link. So then to the left of these guys, this is also part of the anime. It's part of the story, right? What are we looking at? They look like Havdalah candles for the end of Shabbat.
I tried my best to do this with the fabric markers we had, but I drew wisteria because that wards off demons in Demon Slayer. And I want to ward off demons in my Jewish life.
All right. Well, and you have another Jewish symbol that sort of does that, so that's very cool. So I like how you're making those connections to your Judaism. Now, next to those, you've got, it's very cute. You have an apple, and somebody's inside the apple.
It's a worm. An apple to represent my knowledge, and worms because I'm a bookworm.
Very nice. Very nice, very cute. And then next to the apple, you got some fruit to the left and above it. What are we looking at?
I drew some fruits because they're yummy.
All right, very good. So you love tasty fruits. Now under, let's see, that's under your mom's name. We've got a number of animals. Will you tell us about that?
So this is my deceased dog, Mushu.
Mushu has wings and a halo above. Isn't that adorable? So there's Mushu, a blessed memory. And next to Mushu, who's next?
That's my dog, Micah.
Micah the dog. We know Micah the dog. And next to Micah, your kitty?
I have my cat, Woodley.
Woodley. And Woodley's new, right? New to the home?
We've only had him for like 4 months.
Very
5
nice.
months now, I think.
And Woodley's adorable. He's got a number of stripes. Do we know how old Woodley is?
He's like a year and something.
Okay.
And wait, what?
Yeah.
He's 18 months old, I guess.
Yeah, so a year and a half. Well, they're both adorable. Mike and Woodley. Oh, and you drew some more animals next to Woodley. What are we looking at?
I drew some random animals because I like animals.
Yeah, it looks like it. So that looks like a little elephant and a bunny rabbit with large ears and a giraffe with quite a long neck there. Very nice. Well, it's adorable. And then next, above your dad's name, this is, I don't know if y'all can see this. This is cute. What are we looking at there?
Well, basically, I like drawing like characters in my own style or like how I think they would be.
Yeah.
So I drew a Torah riding a skateboard. With sunglasses, and it says, "Cool Torah says, being a Jew is too cool for school."
Nice. Torah riding a skateboard and a Torah wearing sunglasses. It's great. It's great. And then, let's do this. We've got two other symbols. I want to end with your mom's symbol for you. We started with your dad's. I want to end with your mom's. So right above, right next to the Torah on skates, what are we looking at right next to your hand?
Oh.
Yeah, let's do that one.
This is a chamsa to represent Jewish hand, hand of God.
The hand of God, a symbol of protection. And
yes, it protects me throughout my life.
Nice, a chamsa. Okay, very nice. That's wonderful. And then your mom also drew a symbol, and she put a Hebrew word above it. Do you remember?
Well, I think it's some like African symbol for. I'm an Aries, so I think it's supposed to represent that.
Right. It's your birth sign,
Yeah.
because it's traditional to put one's birth sign on the wimple. So that's the Aries, the symbol of that. And then the Hebrew word anavah is a quality of character. Do you remember?
Humility.
Humility. All right. Okay. Basis of Musar, Jewish character development. Very cool. Well, and then you also have borders all around your wimple. It's really a beautiful, colorful wimple. It tells a story about you.
Here's another story about the border.
Yeah, right?
I got some markers, and it took a very long time to do it because the markers kept on dying. So that's a very totally interesting story.
So you really put a lot of efforts and creativity in your wimple. So we love it. Thank you for sharing that. We are honored to wrap the Torah in Claire's wimple. Thank you, Claire.
I love the Torah on the skateboard. It's a new one.
Yeah. That is. All right. She could patent that one. The Torah on the skateboard. Wow. So we are going to wrap the Torah in the wimple, and it is a Jewish tradition to lift the Torah high before we dress it, to show everybody the words that were chanted so wonderfully by Claire. To lift the Torah, we are honored to call upon Mark Selfon, Claire's uncle, and to dress the Torah, Ella Selfon and Jeremy and Alex Whitman, Claire's cousins. And as they come up, we invite the congregation to please rise. So I often use the lip here to get some leverage. It's up to you. Just lift it straight up.
V'zat ha'Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe.
To help us now return the Torah to the Ark, we are honored to call upon Lauren McFarland, Claire's aunt, and Scott McFarland, Claire's cousin, as we turn now to page 374. Page 374. And please be seated, everybody. Want to set the clock before you start?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Take your time. Feel free to adjust the volume if it feels like it's off. Okay, have fun.
Shabbat Shalom! Have you ever walked around your block and seen a tree filled with just ripe oranges in the perfect shade of orange and wondered, would it be okay if I just took one? Well, luckily, my Torah portion holds the answer to this dilemma. In this week's Torah portion, God tells the ancient Israelites that when they harvest their fields, they should leave the edges and the fallen fruit on the ground for the poor and the stranger to take. This is a famous mitzvah in the Torah called Peyach, which means corner. This mitzvah, along with many other important mizuvot included in my Torah portion, make it one of the most prominent passages in the entire Torah. In fact, in Reformed Jewish synagogues throughout North America, this Torah portion is read on the holiest day of the year, on Yom Kippur afternoon. It's that important! So, my Torah portion can teach us a few crucial things that are still relevant today. The one I want to focus on this morning is the essential teaching that we should show compassion to strangers and people that are less fortunate than us. That's why I picked this part of the Torah portion, because I know if people have more compassion for strangers and for the less fortunate, the world would be a better place. I really think it's interesting that the Torah was written so long ago and God instructed farmers to leave their fruits and vegetables at the edges of their fields. The farmers back then probably thought it was awful that they had to work so hard in their fields and were not allowed to sell some of their crops. If I was a farmer, I might argue with the Jewish leaders of the day about this rule. What do you mean we have to leave all this valuable produce? I'm the one who plowed these fields, planted the seeds, watered them, and tended to them day and night under a burning sun. It's not fair. It belongs to me. The farmer has rights, but maybe the mitzvah is there because the farmers left the fruits on the edges of their fields to benefit themselves, and not because they're compassionate to others. Think about it. Back then, people had to travel long distances, and there are no soup plantations and olive gardens along the way to stop at. The farmers themselves would become strangers when they traveled, so maybe they had to rely on other farmers so they could eat the food on the edges of their fields. Leaving the harvest on the edges of their fields benefited not only the poor and the stranger, but also the farmers themselves when they traveled around the country. Or here's another way to think about it. God instructing the farmers to leave their fruits and vegetables for the poor is similar to how we pay taxes today. The farmers couldn't use part of their harvest and had to give it away. This reminds me of when I was little and had $20 and went to Target to buy a toy. The toy cost $20, but I had to pay $2 extra in taxes, and I didn't have enough money. I was very upset that I had to pay taxes that day. Back then, I didn't understand why I had to pay more money than the toy cost, but now I understand the $2 extra goes to improve our community with public schools, police, and fire departments. The money that the farmers lost from not harvesting the edges of their fields helped their community, just like the money we pay in taxes to help our community. In today's world, paying taxes and giving tzedakah, the mitzvah to give to those in need, is like leaving the edges of the field to help our community. That is why I think this commandment in my Torah portion is really all about. It's about helping others and sharing what we have with them. It's about being compassionate towards them. It's about giving ourselves and what we have, whether it's our money, our time, our effort, or even part of our field if we happen to be a farmer. Because when we think about it, we don't fully own or control anything. The farmer's field wasn't just his or hers. They didn't own the sun or the rain that caused the fruits and vegetables to grow. They didn't create the original seeds they planted. It came from the earth and the sky. The farmers were the caretakers of what the earth gave them. And according to the Torah, it was meant to be shared with others. In the same way, we are also meant to share with others what we have been fortunate to receive and produce, because a lot of other people assisted us in getting it in the first place. By sharing what we have with others, especially with the less fortunate, the stranger who's vulnerable, and the impoverished, we are helping those who need it most. It's a great mitzvah that originates in this week's Torah portion. In becoming a bat mitzvah, I did a Mitzvah Project based on the spirit of this week's Torah portion. My Mitzvah Project is making the beds for cats in the Pasadena Humane Society. I chose this project because I got one of my pets from the Humane Society, and I would like to give back to them for giving me such a wonderful dog. So I'm helping the cats at their shelter sleep comfortably on the beds I made them instead of the cold concrete floor. Now I'd like to thank a number of people who helped me reach this important milestone in my life. I would like to thank my parents for forcing me to always study for my bat mitzvah ceremony, even when I was really tired and didn't want to study. They still forced me to keep at it. I would like to thank the education director, Carolyn Moore-Musso, for tutoring me to become a bat mitzvah, and to the rabbi for helping me write my speech, and to the cantor and rabbi for helping me prepare for this day. I'd also like to thank the rest of my family and my friends for being so amazing, and to everyone that came here to celebrate with me today. Thank you. It means so much. Shabbat Shalom.
Wow, Claire, thank you. Thank you for making this day so special. This was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your very thoughtful, wise teaching and your beautiful leading of prayers. Everybody notice what a wonderful voice Claire has? Got a beautiful voice. Like a cancer. Fantastic. Wow. Well, Claire, at this time, we know that your parents would like to share what's in their heart to you. So I'm honored to begin by calling upon your mom, Kim. We would be honored, then followed by your dad, David. So yeah, why don't you guys come on over, and then David will come up in just a moment to share.
Move it on. You're supposed to go on this side.
All right. Claire Bear, I'm just full of joy. I can't believe your bat mitzvah is finally here. You'll remember this day for the rest of your life. You'll remember your family and friends celebrating your accomplishments today. In addition to remembering the big moments, I want you to remember how you got here, okay? You attended religious school since kindergarten. You made the commitment to study for bat mitzvah, and although I tried to talk you out of it numerous times, you insisted you wanted to do this. You made a commitment to study 20 minutes a day, and you'd learn that by studying for a short time, you can tackle a big project. You faced challenges throughout this journey, and you persevered. I want you to remember all the work you did to get to this day. And I want you to remember when you apply yourself and do your work, you're capable of great things. Now, take a deep breath with me. And look around at all the people in this room and online who are here to support you. All your friends and family. All these people are sending you love. Know that you are loved now and you are loved always. When you feel alone or sad, remember this moment and know all these people love you today and will always support and love you. If you remember nothing else, remember there is always love in the world for you. And if you can feel it, you will never be alone. Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, "Fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you." You, my love, are a natural leader. Sometimes those leadership skills get you in trouble, like the time you tried to save bugs from going down the drain at Camp Odyssey and you convinced other kids to take apart the drain to help you. I did. When you lead, you motivate and you inspire others. You are a trendsetter. Leading and being a trendsetter is a gift. Use it with humility and harness this gift to fight for the things you care about, like animal rights or the environment. Every anime hero has a superpower. You have superpowers too. The qualities that make you unique, like your bravery, your sense of humor, your ability to create anything out of paper, and your leadership skills are your own personal superpowers. Use them for good. We are made B'Tselem Elohim in God's image. God has many forms, and these superpowers are your gifts from God. Know them, respect them, and use them with wisdom. Today is a huge accomplishment, and I'm so proud of you. Claire, my dear daughter, you are our force of nature. You have bounding exuberance, and creativity flows from you. I love who you are, and I can't wait to see who you become. I love you. Mazel tov. Okay, well, that's okay.
Okay, well, I got it down to 6 pages, so I'm really thrilled about that. All right. The Greek historian Thucydides talked a lot about the Sumerians and about how the ritual of coming. I can't actually read this, so you read it. All right. It has been great watching you do this and being a part of this. Your motivation was low in the beginning. I'm glad that my promise of a 7 Series BMW helped move things along. But now that we're here, we may need to renegotiate. Through you, I have come to know 2 aliyahs in Leviticus. They have been tattooed, scorched onto my brain. But it has been wonderful sitting with you, watching you practice, hearing you practice, and all the things that Mom said about your strength, your wonderfulness. It's all true. I don't need to even repeat it. But I am so proud of you, and it is truly such a privilege to be your dad. I love you.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kim. Thank you both so much for such heartfelt and such touching words. Well, Claire, I would like to thank you too. I wrote a few things. Probably is about 6 pages, David. This was an awesome experience today, Claire. Thank you. Thank you for creating an inspiring day of prayer and learning and celebration that we are all experiencing, will continue to experience. Claire, I have had the great pleasure of knowing you and knowing your family for close to 8 years, since you were 5 years old in kindergarten. And it's been such a delight to watch you and to watch your family become so wonderfully rooted in our community, and for you all to so generously help to create our spiritual home here. Thank you. I was deeply moved, Claire, by your thoughtful teachings today and how they're reflected in your life. You taught us all about the importance of being kind and helpful to strangers, to those who are less fortunate, the mitzvah to share, the mitzvah to give. You said deep from the heart, I know, I am quoting you, you said, I know if people have more compassion for strangers and the less fortunate, the world would be a better place. How true that is, Claire. How profoundly true that is. Greater compassion for others enhances our world, it improves our world, it benefits others, and it also blesses us. It's so fitting that your parents emphasize that profound truth about you, Claire, on your wimple, your Torah Binder that we all saw a few moments ago. And as David explained, those 2 hands that came together in the shape of a heart surrounded by shining stars and encircled by blossoming plants. That's you, representing your infinite compassion, boundless compassion was the other word that we talked about earlier this week. Your infinite, boundless compassion. That boundless, infinite compassion of yours is demonstrated in your Bat Mitzvah Project that you chose, helping animals at the Humane Society, making cats comfortable and keeping them warm. Your tremendous love of animals is a terrific example of your compassion, Claire. You have that in common with the Torah and with the Jewish tradition, our Jewish tradition. There was an eminent historian, I thought we were both going to be talking about somebody, I'm not going to go back to the Greeks, but there was a historian of the 20th century named William Lecky who wrote, get this, he wrote that Jewish people have the longest history of concern for animals of any people. And he wasn't Jewish, and he said that. Longest concern for animals of any people. He said tenderness to animals is one of the most beautiful features of the Jewish Bible. One of its most beautiful features. And Lecky also said that the rabbinical writers after the Bible were remarkable for their great emphasis they placed upon the duty of kindness to animals. Kindness to animals. We don't often think about that from the Torah or from the Talmud. We don't often talk about it, but it is there and it is true. Just consider those 10 commandments, Claire. Care and kindness to animals is stated up there, right in the top 10, but we don't talk about it a lot. Yet there it is at number 4, that big dalet right there on the right. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. That's what we remember. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. But it goes on. You shall not do any work, you, your son, your daughter, your male or female servant, the stranger in your midst, or your cattle. Farm animals are entitled to a day of rest each and every week too. Now, I don't know if they'd like to eat challah or drink grape juice like we do to celebrate, yet they deserve to rest just as we do. The Torah also says that cattle must be allowed to eat while they're working in the field. They can't be muzzled, which is still often done. in other cultures to this day, but not in Judaism. It said thousands of years ago that they are allowed to eat and they should not be muzzled. And what's more, the Torah says that animals of different sizes and strengths can't be forced to work together to plow a field. So what's the big deal? Well, the stronger animal is going to overpower the weaker one, exhausting or maybe even inadvertently injuring the smaller animal. And that would be cruel. Kindness, compassion for animals is found again and again in the Torah. And of course, who can forget the celebrated story of Noah and his family caring for all those animals they brought into the ark to save them from the flood. Torah even has a talking donkey way before Shrek ever did. And get this, the donkey in the Torah speaks only to tell his owner to stop beating him and to stop hurting him. Compassion and kindness to animals again and again in the Torah. So it's no wonder then that the rabbis who lived after the biblical era, they created a blessing to say when you see a beautiful animal, a prayer for an animal. And they created another blessing to say when you see an exotic animal, such as an elephant or a monkey. How thoughtful is that? And our rabbis also teach us something extremely important about caring for our own pets, our own animals, that I happen to keep in mind just about every day with my little dog. They say it is a mitzvah to provide for our pets and our animals before we provide for ourselves. Meaning that if you're hungry for lunch, Claire, you hungry for lunch? If you're hungry for lunch and Woodley or Micah haven't eaten yet either, and they're hungry too, the rabbis teach us we gotta wait to eat. You gotta wait to eat. First we feed our pets, then we can eat. It is such a great, practical, compassionate teaching. Makes sense, right? Can't be sitting there and enjoying a meal while our dog or cat's stomach is growling and they're looking at us with those puppy dog eyes or those kitty cat eyes and they're saying, hey, what about me? I'm hungry too. My paw can't open the fridge. I can't get into the cabinet myself to rustle up some food. We are to provide for our pets and animals first. It's such a wise, it's such a kind teaching, and there is one after another, after another, after another in Judaism. All of them teaching us and training us to widen our circle of compassion, to widen our circle of kindness, to expand our circle of care and respect, to include all animals, to include all people, as you talked about today, and to include all living beings. So Claire, when you taught us today, when you said, I'm going to quote you a second time, it's the same thing, I know if people have more compassion, the world would be a better place. Well, you express the very heart of Judaism and what this is all about, and what we are here on this earth to do. Claire, you are such a thoughtful and wise and compassionate and caring and creative and kind young person. That is what it means to be a bat mitzvah, a daughter of the commandment. And that is who you are, Claire. May you continue to be a great blessing to the world and to all of us. Mazel tov. Mazel tov to you. Mazel tov to your wonderful family. Thank you. Thank you. Claire, at this time, Cantor and I would be honored to share with you the most precious blessing of the Jewish people, God's blessing found in the Torah. Mom's pointing up there. We invite you to join us at the Aron HaKodesh, the Holy Ark. We invite everybody to please rise.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha velecha.
Claire, may God bless you. May God protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha vichuneka.
May the light of God's wisdom and God's love shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha. Yasem lecha shalom, shalom.
Claire, may God always be with you and always be with your fabulous, wonderful family, and bless you all with the most precious blessing of all, the blessing of Shalom. It is peace, it's wholeness, it is fulfillment in every way. And together let's all say, Amen. Please be seated, everybody. Well, Claire, at this time, leaders of the Jewish community would like to make a special presentation to you in honor of your becoming bat mitzvah. I am honored to begin by calling upon our temple president, and he also happens to be your stepdad, Mr. Steve Abrams.
Claire. Claire, your mom, Meg, Allison, and I are so very proud of you. The Temple family is also so very proud of you. Mazel tov to you. You did such a wonderful job. On behalf of Temple Sinai, I am honored to present you with some gifts today. First, a certificate commemorating that on this day you became a bat mitzvah, leading us in worship and chanting us our sacred texts. Next, we have a gift certificate for you from the National Federation of Temple Youth that can be used toward a trip to Israel with other Jewish teens during your high school year. Love you, Stad. Okay, next, I call up your great aunt and uncle, Roseanne and David Selfon, to present you with your own women's Torah commentary.
First of all, let me say how proud I am of you. Actually, Uncle David and I are both proud of you. We're so glad to be here with you. When your mom emailed me and asked if I would present this to you, I thought, wow, that's amazing that they actually present a women's commentary. And I was so glad. I hope you know why I'm giving this to you. Way back in the other century, in 1993, I was very involved with Women of Reform Judaism, which was the organization that published this commentary. And I want to tell you just a quick story about how one person makes a difference. We were at a biennial assembly in 1993. One woman, Cantor Sarah Sager from Cleveland, spoke to about 1,000 women. And she challenged us. She said, and the Torah portion was about Abraham taking Isaac up on the mountain and sacrificing him supposedly. And she said, what did Sarah say? What was the deal? How could she let him take her only beloved son that she waited years and years for? And when she did the research to speak to us, she couldn't find anything because nobody thought a woman had an opinion about that. It didn't work. And so she challenged the Women of Reform Judaism to create a commentary that was all based on women authors. And that's how this came to be. It took 14 years and $1.5 million to publish this commentary. And I had the honor and privilege of being president of Women of Reform Judaism when it came to fruition. I am so, so honored to give you your own copy. I don't expect you to sit down and read it. I hope you read its story in the foreword, the preface that I wrote. But more than anything, when you have a Torah portion that for some reason you have to look up, check it out in here so that you can hear a woman's voice and make it your own. David, you have something to say?
Claire, I hope in the years to come, as you read the commentary, and that you will find the wisdom that you gain from it, that you will pass it on to future generations. Mazel tov to you.
We love you.
Yes, thank you, Roseanne. Thank you, David. And thank you, Steve. And representing the Brotherhood, we have, yes, Philip, yeah, and Susan Hain. Philip and Susan. Sister, yeah.
Claire, I had the privilege of sitting directly across from you today, and the look and the joy and the enthusiasm you exhibited were great. So before the service, I told you get the award for cutest shoes, and now I'm going to say you get the award for most enthusiasm. It was just a pleasure to be here today. So on behalf of the Brotherhood, I'm here to present you with this Kaddish cup. May it always overflow with sweet grape juice, and whenever you use it throughout your life, may it fill your heart and mind with joyful memories of this special day. Mazel tov to you.
Well, Claire, you did an amazing job, and listening to your teaching was wonderful. Mazel tov. On behalf of the Sisterhood at Temple Sinai, it is my privilege to present you with this mezuzah. Hanging it on the doorpost of your bedroom can always remind you of your connection to Judaism. And wherever your life takes you, we hope that you will bring it with you so that you will always feel God's presence on your journey, and also the warmth of knowing that Temple Sinai will always be your home.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Philip. Thank you again, Roseanne and David, and thank you again, Steve, so much. Wow, you got some goodies there. Very nice. So why don't we leave it here? You've been working hard today. We got a lot of celebrating to do in just a moment, but a few more prayers before we conclude our Shabbat worship. You want to take a breather? You want to have a seat, and Cantor and I will finish out? Yeah? Oh, yeah, we'll do that later. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I haven't forgotten. I got a little sticky. So coming in a little bit. Yes. All right. She is a leader. She's like, hey, we got one more thing to do. We do. We're going to get there. Beautiful. Hey, that sort of matches your talit. We can leave it there. Yeah, take the mezuzah. Matches talit. That's nice. It's all very good. Rosanna, I want to mention too. You're mentioning about the Women's Torah Commentary. That was for us to have it here. That was the brainchild of Flo Cohen, who was on the regional board of Sisterhood and also the national board. Yes, the regional board flows back there. Years ago, when the Women's Torah Commentary came out, Flo suggested, hey, let's give it to our Banot Mitzvah. And so we've been doing that 8-10 years. I forget how long it's been. And then at a certain point, we're like, why? We should give it to everybody. Let's have it in the pews. So our community raised the funds to be able to provide all the copies of the Women's Torah Commentary that we have in the pews. And so thank you for what's the word for it? Shepherding, midwiving, helping to bring the Women's Torah Commentary to all the congregations throughout the world, certainly throughout North America. And on a personal note, I use it every time before I meet with a bat mitzvah and a bar mitzvah student. I read it every time, and I use it. I have it in my folder. It's right here in my folder right here. So thank you again. And thanks to everybody. And let's do some concluding prayers, and then we're going to celebrate. Continue to celebrate. Yes, page 586. 586, we come to the Adoration Prayer, Aleinu. Middle of page 586. It's traditional to say this prayer before the open ark. The open ark is a symbol of God's presence in our lives. So let's all stand together. We're on page 586.
Aleinu leshabeach adon hakol, v'atei kedula liyaser reshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachu korim, u'mishtachamim u'modim, b'fnei melech Malchei Hamelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And please be seated, everybody.
Kakatu b'Torah Tachadonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom ha'hu yiyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Well, Jewish worship is never complete until we think of those people in our lives, family members who've been a blessing to us, who have passed away, yet the relationship remains in a love that is stronger than death. We remember our family members who have died, our friends who have passed, members of our community, members of every race and nation who are a blessing to humanity. We think of them now. We honor them through our memory and through our prayer. As I mention the name of a loved one who has passed, I invite you to please stand, and then in just a moment we'll all stand together to recite the Kaddish prayer. This Shabbat we say Kaddish for Amy Bjorkland, Barry Nathan, Harvey Hirsch, Phyllis Sivan, Shirley Rosenberg. We say Kaddish for Eva Hain, Marion Parnes, David Lieberman, Susan Schwartz, Leon Johnson, Stephen Snitzer, Anita Honey Barr, Vera Schneiderman, Joan Kaffel Ettlinger, Janet Jeffries, Jennifer Woody, Nancy Lord, and Barbara Bolter. And for those who are observing Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one that is commemorated this week, we remember Robin Brown and Perla Plute, Jose Luna Jr., Celia Edelman, Jack Haskin, Judy Hirsch. We remember Heinz Lowe and Cal Mulholland, Teresa Coleman, Helen Eisenband, Lena Golden, Bertha Korinsky, Ed W. Kinney, Sylvia Miller, Louise Morse, Joseph Saltzman, Fanny Kess Siegel, Louis Siegler. We remember Marion Snyder, Mike Sobel, Louis Staff, Rabbi Kenneth Weiss, Clara Wolf, Jacob Zitnick, and Sanford Zimmerman. Is there anybody who's mourning a loss whose name was not mentioned? If so, we invite you to please raise your hand and mention that name now. Yes, yes, please. Yeah, Danny. Yes, Mark. Please. For all of them. We stand together as a community of family and friends. We turn to page 598 in our prayer book, page 598. We thank God that they were all with us as we pray. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bialma divarach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayachon v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'mei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yal kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn. May we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. Together we say,
Amen.
And please be seated, everybody.
Please join me as we conclude our Kaddish prayer with Oseh Shalom, a prayer for peace.
Oseh Shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru
Claire, I thought you'd clean this up. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We have many wonderful events coming up at Temple Sinai, which you can read about it in our weekly TSG email blast. Kim and I, in honor of Claire's bat mitzvah, have today's flowers, presented flowers, and also Mimi and Jean Burton and family for the York side of Mimi's mother, Perla Plute. Stephanie and George Lowe for the York side of George's father, Heinz Lowe. At the conclusion of the service, everyone is invited to join Kaddish luncheon hosted by the Abram Selfon family. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Steve. Well, Claire, at this time, we would like to call upon your religious school classmates to make a special presentation to you. So please come on up, guys. Kenley Slichter is representing as we invite all of our religious school students. Please come on up. All right, Kenley, here we go. This is for you, and this is for you. So if you want to come right near the microphone, Claire, you stand right next to me.
Hi, guys. Okay. Congratulations. You did such a good job today. I'm so proud of you. We are all really proud of you and happy that you're a classmate of ours. Hebrew school wouldn't be the same without you, Claire, without you annoying everyone. LOL. Sometimes you're annoying, but we still love you. Okay. We would like to give you this menorah to remind you of this day and friendships you have to make here at Temple Sinai. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, I have tears. I know, right? My speech is so meaningful.
Thank you. So if you guys will please stay right here. And
Why do I have to?
Lol.
Well, that way you get first to do the home.
You do?
all right. Let's see. I've got one for Cantor. I have one. Claire, would you like to hold this one? Yes. Okay, thank you. Thanks so much.
Claire, please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
I am. Well, we also have a challah that we're going to share an emotzi together, the blessing over the challah. Yeah, thank you. Oh, with raisins.
Bottoms up. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'ah.
Now, everyone watch Claire. She takes the largest part.
You guys are welcome to some too, if you'd like. Okay, thank you, Isa. Thank you. Well, we come now to our closing song. Cantor, what have you chosen for today?
So, by Claire's request, we're going to conclude today's service with Adon Olam on page 625. If we'll all rise and join together.
Page 625, everybody.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'ed nasa b'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yihya b'tif'ara ve'hu echad ve'en sheni lehamshir lo lehachbira beli reishit beli tachlit ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamisra ve'hu eili ve'chai go'ali ve'tzur chavli be'eitzara ve'hu nisi umanos li Menat kosi beyom ekra beyado achid ruchi ve'eiti sham ve'aira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. If you'll please also take your prayer book with you. We've got people in the to greet you at the back of the sanctuary. If you'll please take your prayer book and they'll return it to the bookshelf. Thank you all. Thank you, Bo. Sorry, I didn't realize that about the mezuzah, so I just thought she was going to bring it for us. So that was my...
He was going to do it all?
No, I didn't put everything.
It always does.
I know, I didn't put it together.